After Margaret filed that report this afternoon, I spoke with her from Mexico City. Margaret, we watch a piece like that from Juarez and the other reports you've done this week, and I wonder what it feels like being there. Does it feel like a dangerous place? Do you see it affecting people you meet?
Jeff, it really depends where you are. Certainly in Ciudad Juarez and in Monterrey, people, and I felt it, live with a sense of threat. I mean, even in Monterrey, the third biggest city in the country, very wealthy, almost everyone, it seems, has a story of someone they know being caught up in some kind of incident, whether it's just being in a restaurant and having thugs come in and demand everyone's wallet. In Monterrey, we had security, and once coming back from spending part of the day with the mayor in an outlying area, our security detail suddenly heard all over the radio, the two vans just passed, and we'd been planning to stop to shoot somewhere else, and he said, they may not be talking about us, but we're out of here. So the fear of being kidnapped, the fear of even petty crime is pretty high. Now here in Mexico City, it's completely different. It feels like any normal city, and yet 2 days ago there was a shootout at the international airport between federal police and apparently two crooked federal police. So everybody knows something's wrong here. All
right, so there's an election on Sunday, which you've been watching and covering all this week. How does that atmosphere play into the voting?
Well, as we've been reporting this week, Jeff, it plays into it hugely. People here, even if they support taking on the cartels, they want the violence to stop. They want to be able to go to school and work without living in fear. And so the candidate of President Calderon's party, Josefina Vasquez Mota, is third in the polls. People just want to change, despite the economy being pretty good. And so whether it's Enrique Peña Nieto who wins of the PRI, or whether it's Andrés Manuel López Obrador, the former mayor of this city, it's clear that the way the drug war is being fought will change in some fashion.
And what about the election process? There have been problems in the past with whether they were fair and honest. What are there concerns this time? What's being done?
Well, there were deep concerns after 2006, Jeff, because that was really traumatic for this country. It was only their second truly free presidential election, and it was so razor thin. And López Obrador, who was running then, came in, was the loser, charged fraud. There were serious allegations of ballot stuffing, vote count changing, and he really shut down this city with demonstrations for 6 weeks. A lot of people lost their jobs, but worse, it called into question the legitimacy, not only, as someone with the Election Commission said to me today, the result, but with their very identity as a democracy. So there's been a lot of changes made. The Election Commission thinks that but the polling places themselves, they've got an almost airtight system. New way of choosing the poll officials. Every party and every candidate has monitors. They've got all of these triple checks, which I won't go into detail here, but we'll report on online on Sunday. So they think that is pretty airtight. But what they can't control is whether there's vote buying before the election or threats. And there have the other two parties, not the front runner Peña Nieto's party, but the other two parties have charged that's going on. So far, the commission hasn't seen enough evidence of that. But, it remains a concern.
All right. Well, we will talk to you again on Monday, of course. Margaret Warner in Mexico City. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
On our website, we have a slideshow with more of Julian Cardona's photographs from Juarez. And this Sunday, we'll have special web coverage of Election Day in Mexico, including a dispatch from our team on the ground.